Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Golden's Guide to Divorce. I'm here in the fabulous Bronx studios. You know how much I love being here. We have someone really special to my heart today. I can't wait for you to meet her. Her name is Allana Pratt, and I have had a girl crush on this girl for as long as I can remember. So I cannot wait for you to meet her. Allana Pratt, she's an intimacy expert and a go-to authority to those who've suffered heartbreak, and are ready to live unapologetically and attract open-hearted relationships. She's a certified coach with nearly 5 million viewers on YouTube, y'all. Allana offers private, group, and online coaching programs for singles and couples. And let me tell you, Allana is an Ivy League grad. She's the author of 6 books and hosts the edgy podcast. She's got her own podcast too called Intimate Conversations, and they are intimate, let me tell you. She's been chosen as an icon of influence. She's a columnist for the Good Men Project. I love that. She's been featured in the Huffington Post, People Magazine, Forbes, CBS, ABC, TLC, Fox, and the Jenny McCarthy Show. She's also, can you believe all this? I mean, aside from being Superwoman, her new book is called From Heartbreak to Heartmates, Discover Lockdown Love. Man, what a title. She also has, we're going to talk about this, she's got a new app out called Heartmates app, and it's a partnering and intimacy training kind of all rolled into one. I can't wait for her to share about that. So with that, welcome, Miss Allana.
Oh my God, it's so great to see you, to be together. And did you just lose an earring? This reminds me of when I did a show with Rolanda. Do you remember Rolanda?
Yes.
And we were live and she lost one of her earrings and she's like, live on national television, I lost an earring. So we just laughed and we just kept going and we had so much fun together. So it's really good to be here.
Well, thank you.
Be real.
I seem to be losing everything, even my earpods today, but that's okay. You're here, and I'm just so excited to have you here. I do want to say it's just so cool that, we've known each other for years, and we have shared some really intimate conversations. And
yes.
You know what I love about you, and it's the way that you work with people as well, is that you are so real and so vulnerable and so transparent, which is why I think people are just, so attracted to you and feel so safe with you. And I'm really trying to model the transparency of this show kind of behind the way that you've done it all these years. And
Wow.
I guess I'm wondering, the first questions I really have for you is like, what pushes you to do what you do with so much vulnerability?
Mm-hmm. So first, thank you for such a beautiful compliment. It's just too much work to remember who I lied to and who I didn't lie to. It's just exhausting. I'd rather just be real, tell the truth to everybody, and take it or leave it. So many years, Deborah, I spent people pleasing and trying to do the right thing to be safe and trying to be liked and trying to get love and blah, blah. It's exhausting. And so when I finally learned how to have an intimate relationship with myself and no longer avoid, criticize, judge myself and allow little wounded Allana to not be fixed and just love her as she is. If you want to be wobbly the rest of your life, I love you. Yeah. That part inside. And I stopped trying to, make her all camera ready to show up in the world. There's an exhale inside. There's a peace inside. There's a home inside. And there's no more, I hope you like me, but if you don't, I'm going to be okay. But in the past, that wasn't true. I needed you to like me, approve of me in order to literally have worth.
Yeah.
So when the worth started to come from the inside out, and the allowance of other people liking me or not liking me happened, then it was just such a breath of fresh air to stop having to try to look good, do it right, say the right thing, and sometimes even white lie it just to try to get approval. And I could just be transparent. And what I realized very quickly is those who couldn't handle it left. And those who loved it and felt inspired by it and felt safe and seen and understood flocked. Yeah. And so that's what I would encourage all of us. The ones that stick around when you're not even being you in the first place don't even know you. And are they really friends?
Yeah, exactly.
Let them go. Let them go.
You know, I love what you're saying, because I talked a lot about that last week on my episode last week about the people pleasing, and, you know, how I'm really, you know, trying to give that habit up, and, you know, and really looking at why we do it, because we want the love, or we want the likes, or we want the security, or, you know, whatever. But I love everything you were saying. And I also loved in that statement you mentioned little Allana, because I have been introducing my audience. You know, I'm fairly new doing this now, but I have been introducing my audience to the child inside of us, and I still think that's somewhat new to some listeners. And would you just say a little bit? I'm always trying to find a different way to present it, but you're so good at it. Would you say a little more about how important the child inside of us is?
Yes, and I'll do it in a little story, because I know, well, I've been divorced twice, and most people that are listening to this show are either going through a divorce or have been through a divorce.
Right.
And so not only was I through the divorce, I was through a 12-year custody battle that ended in my son choosing to go live with his dad. And I chose to allow that, even though, and not exercise my legal or physical custody, because my son believed it was the only way to have peace. And so I decided I would have a controlled nervous breakdown and just go away into a cabin in the middle of nowhere and cry. And so there I was on the balcony of this A-frame in the middle of nowhere. And I wrote this list out of all the reasons why I didn't like myself. Like, you're a fraud. People will probably not like you on Facebook. You are in $250,000 of legal debt, and you'll probably go bankrupt. Nobody loves you, and you might even die alone. Like, your son may never talk to you again. Like, I just did the whole list. It was a long list. And then I went back to every single statement, and I put at the end of the statement, and I love and accept you. And so I wasn't resisting my fears, but I was balancing it, equilibrating it with, and I choose to keep my heart open and love me and accept me. And I started to realize there was a little Allana inside who needed my love and acceptance, even if we went bankrupt, died alone, like the worst of it. I needed to reconnect with her. And I had been criticizing her, avoiding her, blaming her. She was the reason why we were single. She was it was self-criticism, and it wasn't working. Right. So I could be in reality, and two things could happen at once. I could love and accept myself. And the fact is, I actually learned that when my mom died, because she died, and the week after was my sister's wedding, and I got pregnant. So when I was pregnant, I was both elated and devastated. And I realized at that time, oh my God, we can have two feelings at once. I never knew we could do that as humans. I'm like, oh, we can have two feelings at once. So I can be afraid that my son will never call me again and love and accept myself.
I love that.
I can be single or divorced and not know who the hell's ever going to love me again. And I can simultaneously love and accept myself. So this is my way of coming home to little you, and to give her, or if there's a gentleman listening, him, acknowledgement for where they are without fixing them. Validation, they have every right to feel the way they're feeling without changing them. Listening, not fixing, just, tell me more. Yeah. Like, I journal with myself and I say, wow, little one, tell me more. And acknowledge, validate, listen, care, tenderness, healing. And then all of a sudden, maybe a couple weeks into this ceremony I would do on the balcony, I had what I call a direct experience with my true nature. I stopped the resisting long enough and came into allowance long enough to have oneness with God. Like this moment of oneness with the universe, where I knew, not thinking is different. Knowing is in the heart or the gut. Knowing, I knew pre-thought that I'm never alone and I'm enough, no matter what. And that is what is all of our birthright, to do to do this work.
we could just wrap the show up right there. I mean, if everybody could just grab that, what you just said, mic drop. I mean, I think I've been trying to explain the inner child for like 9 sessions or something. Excuse me, 9 episodes, and you just landed it. You just landed the plane, which I'm sure is probably why, you work with so many people on really deep levels. And like, if people go onto your site or onto Instagram, I mean, the testimonials are off the chain. I mean, the way people can relate to you and work through their traumas, and whether that's by themselves or with a partner. But how did you learn to create and provide that safe, here comes the next one, shame-free space? That's huge.
Well, we have to be that which we choose to give, right? If you want $10 and I don't have $10 to give you, I can't give you $10 as much as I want to give you $10. So if I choose to create a space that's shame-free for people, but I still have shame about myself, I'm going to get triggered by their shame. And we're just going to be a hot mess together. So we always have to do the work ourselves first. And I do want people to know, I have this little you meditation, and there's a lot of ways you can receive it. One is to talk to my intimacy success advisor on my site. That's a gift that we give when you sign up for one of those sessions. Also with my Heartmates app, which we'll talk about later, when you even just apply to be part of this app, you get the little you meditation as a complimentary gift. So it's my signature thing. There's something about my authentic resonance with not judging or not shaming myself that is an actual measurable coherence, like, heart coherence, right? We can measure this stuff now.
Right.
Not just woo-woo anymore, people. When you're in a state, if you can't quite get to appreciation of the little you inside, if at least you can get to compassion and empathy, you will raise your coherence enough to literally help your health, literally help the best of your brain, your creative thinking turn on, and your reptilian fight or flight or freeze turn off. You'll literally hear your intuition and your knowing. I'm putting my fingers down to my belly and my gut. There's a knowing in there that you cannot hear when you're spinning in here. And when our access to that is through an open heart, that's why I call it Heartmates. Because when our hearts are closed, we are a hot mess and we can't think healthy thoughts. We can't know what we know. Thus, we can't trust ourselves, which means we can't trust life or another. And we're just scared. But when our heart is open, and that takes something, that takes work, that takes doing the inner work that I do myself, and I train my coaches in, and I teach in my Heartmates, and I teach in my curriculums, etc. We have to do the work to integrate our wounds. But when our heart is open, yes, we're vulnerable, but that's our greatest superpower. When you're all the way open, it can be intense. I'll be honest, it's intense, but that doesn't mean bad, and that doesn't mean wrong. It just means intense.
Yeah.
Orgasms are intense. No problem with that. Right? So fine. Right? Intense is fine. But when you can open in intensity, being vulnerable, which means you're present, which means you have choice. You can be discerning and aware, but you also have no control of the moment. Okay? You don't know what people are going to do. I can't control you. You can't control me. So when we're truly present and we're truly heart open, we can't control. Can I swear? I don't know if I can swear on your show. Poo. We can't control poo.
Yeah.
So we can't control. And we have total choice. We are not victims. We are not victims of our circumstance. We have choice all the time. So when we can do this, we can use this same idea of not being able to control anything and have total choice to go into ourself and find the little you who's ashamed. And she's the one who big me, hasn't said, I love you no matter what. We've only said, I love you if you change, if you look good, if we can get approval, blah, blah, blah. It's judgment, right? But if you can go in and that part of you that thinks, I'm so ashamed, I'm not enough, I'm broken. That's what shame says. It's not a projection blame thing. It's an internal thing. If you can go in with this sense of presence and allowance and heart openness and acknowledge, hey, you have every right to feel that based on him leaving you. You have every right to think that based on going through bankruptcy. You have every right to feel that going through the health challenge you did. And remember, beginning of the sentence, and I love and accept you exactly as you are. And here's the kicker. Even if you never change ever.
Oh,
now that's a challenge.
I got chills on that one.
Thank you. Well, that would be unconditional love, right? Conditional love is I love and accept you if you change, right? Unconditional love is, I love you. If you're scared and ashamed for the rest of eternity, I will never leave you. This part of ourself that's that ashamed, who's been let down by men and jobs and friends and everything, big you needs to show up and say, and I will never leave you no matter what, even if you never change. That's that connection. Yeah. And this little you who used to be ashamed is like, really? Really? You'll love me even if I'm a hot mess and wobbly from time to time? Yeah, I will. You'll never leave me even if he does? No, I never will. You'll never reject me even if they do? No, I never will. Something exhales within us and comes home within us, and shame is resolved.
Well, and what I've discovered too is the more that I can have compassion for myself and love little Debbie in there, and the more that I do open up and that I can be willing to risk. I can be willing to risk a conversation or being vulnerable or, like a lot of the things I've said on the show here. I mean, I've been really transparent about it all. Some of it's even surprised me. But, you talk about a lot that there's power in the vulnerability, which is kind of, back ass, opposite of what we've been taught,
Yes.
So
it's counterintuitive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to ask me?
Well, now that you said that, I don't think I've ever really plugged in that's when your true intuition opens up too. I don't think I've ever
It's science.
Connected those dots, which is really incredible because we all want that, right? I mean, we all want to be able to trust ourselves and feel like we know what's right for us.
Yeah. We often, I'll just speak for myself. I often looked for safety on the outside. If I had enough money, if I had a man, if I had a job, all these things on the outside, then I would be safe, right? But true safety is on the inside, knowing what I know, trusting what I trust, sensing that, right? Not blindsided and spinning in my head, seeking on the outside for safety, but dropping in and really listening to that small, still voice on the inside. Mm-hmm. So the way we can be safe, because you can't control anybody on the outside as much as we try, control freak. Yep, I know. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And men don't like it. We start to be controlling, right? They want to go away. They want freedom. And a good man uses freedom well. Let us also add that. So back to the trusting. So if we're going to be controlling of our external circumstances, we're going to actually push away the very love we found. So we need to commit to finding safety on the inside. So safety on the inside is hearing our intuition, trusting our instincts, knowing what we know pre-thought before our mind has a chance to talk us out of it. And that is only scientifically possible with an open heart. And an open heart is only possible if you process your trauma, if you heal your wounds, if you integrate your triggers, if you do the work so that you can be open, first in compassion and then in appreciation of every shitty thing that's ever happened to you as for you, because you got stronger, wiser. You learn to speak up. You learn to let go. You learn to surrender. You learn to, like, whatever you learn.
Right.
Everything that happened to us that was traumatizing was given to us to teach us to evolve into a better version of who we are. So if you can do all the inner work and open your heart again and be in appreciation of, in gratitude for all these lessons and keep your heart open, then that channel of energy goes all the way down to your gut, your knowing, your instincts. And here's the other cool thing. Scientifically, it's science. It's not even me. It's science. When you're in coherence in your heart is open, you're in appreciation and gratitude for it all, even the crappy stuff, you also are the same vibration as the field. The field, God, the divine. Yeah. You have access to non-local intuition, not just your own intuition, which is pretty awesome, but you get whispers from angels. Yeah. And you cannot hear them scientifically proven unless you're in coherence. So it's all the more reason to do the work, to heal your heart and be able to keep it open so you can be the most creative, brilliant one you could ever be in your brain, and you can hear your own intuition and the divine. And that, to me, is safety. Then you can go anywhere and risk and have adventures.
And be with anyone. right? I mean,
right? You're like, that doesn't feel very good. Or, yeah, you feel pretty great. Or that
yeah,
job, or that plane, or that meal. I mean, it comes right down to like what's healthy for your sweet body. What's
right.
healthy in terms of exercise. Not everybody likes to go to the gym. Maybe you like to dance. All of these things that we talk ourselves in and out of, we knock it
Hmm.
off. And
Yeah.
we just be who we are, celebrate who we are, and shine as who we are. And it all comes from your brave choice to keep your heart open and do the inner work.
I love that. And, every week I come on here and, I talk all about, doing the work. And for me, I started the podcast about 2 weeks after I separated. And then
Mm.
the next month I had a heart attack. So I feel
Right?
really fortunate that I've had people like you on every week that's kept
Yeah.
me focused on the work. And, I was
Thank
telling
you.
somebody the other day, I was like, if Wednesday is hump day, I feel like I'm on the hump day. I'm like coming out of all not that I don't cry and break down and all that, about it, but I feel like I'm on the other side of what you talk about of, really keeping my heart open. Obviously, that's a need, even
Yeah.
physically that, I was shown that. And then I love
Yeah.
what you're saying about the intuition as well.
Mm.
I wanted to talk about. I was watching one of your videos, which, by the way, everyone, you could learn so much just by
Mm.
watching Alana's videos, YouTube. Her Instagram is full of juicy wisdom, even in
Yeah.
short sentences. As a matter of fact, I had this was one of your quotes on Instagram, which I love.
Uh-huh. Tell
And
me, what
it's,
did I say?
we all have issues because we all
Mm.
have a story. And no matter how much work on yourself, we all snap back sometimes. So be easy on yourself, right? There's the little girl thing. Growth is a dance, not a light switch.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
I love that.
Mm.
So I really want people to know that, sometimes I just pop on your Instagram, and it can just be a short thing like that reminds me it's
Mm.
okay. I'm going to be
Mhm.
okay. And
Thank
and I would love for
Mm.
all the other women going through all this, and the men too, to be able to, the work is just a reminder all the time, right? It's not necessarily. We still have to live our lives, and we still have work to do, and we still have children to raise. But yeah, the work has to stay front and center. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've
I
really
love
watched you do that over the years.
Mm.
And on your when you would do videos or when you would send out blogs or kind of updates, you would talk about you were on the floor the night before crying and feeling like you just wanted to stop everything. And I think you've given people permission to understand that it's okay to talk about it, that
Yeah.
and there's that no shame thing again, right?
Yeah.
And I'm always constantly trying to get that to the audience, is that shame is such a destructive emotion. It has to be recognized, but when we stay in it, we just we do lose all the love, don't you think?
Yeah. When I think about the difference I choose to leave the planet with, like why I was here, if they think, oh, Alana Pratt, she's the one that made me feel okay to be me, like
Yes.
all of me, like the
Yeah.
wobbly parts and the triumphant parts. Like if I could be a role model in really owning where I'm badass and not resisting or shaming where I'm really insecure, scared, don't know what the hell I'm doing. And just like, and this is all of me. Hi. If I can be an inspiration in that by living that way, that is like the greatest, to me, that's the greatest gift I could give, because that means I'm helping everyone love all of them. We don't
Mm-hmm.
just love parts of ourselves. We can love all of ourselves. And if we really want someone to love all of us, but we don't, and we still judge and reject and abandon and hide, And then we expect them to love all of those pieces. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane, people. So that's why when I created this, well, my whole business is around helping people become the one, to find their ideal partner, to find the one, which of course keeps the one. Because if you can learn how to be with your own discomfort and keep your heart open, you can learn to be with another's discomfort and keep your heart open. Nobody's perfect, certainly not me, but that's the shtick. That's what I'm practicing. That's the communication skills and the way of being with myself, so I can be that with the people I love. And so this app we created is a result of what works. People fall in love in my programs. And they don't fall in love the first day they met in my program. They think each other is a hot mess, because they are. and then they're like, oh, but look at that. They take responsibility. Oh, look at that. They do the work. Oh, look at that. They're getting authentic. Oh, look at that. They're getting kind of sexy. Look at that. They're being their best self. Hey, want to go on a date? Like, that's how it works. That's how it works. And so when we come from desperate after a divorce, and we have this emptiness, and we don't want to fill it up from the inside out, and instead we go out to get the next person to fill that void, we haven't grown. It's going to be the same problem, but worse. I'll guarantee that. And it's two wounded people creating like some codependent hell. And so I did this. I did this, so don't worry. I did first divorce, second divorce. I'm like, okay, the only one in common is me. Let's do the work. But now, when I've created a curriculum, be it just like Heartmates, or more coaching, or different ways that I support people, you go, oh, that's why I kept attracting that kind of wound. Oh, that's why that pattern was still there. So you feel so empowered. Right. And back in taking the reins of your chariot, and loving your body, and feeling more safe in your body, and being more open to adventure. And I really want to do like this podcast. Like, I feel like this, like your true delight of being alive begins to radiate, which is super sexy. And it's also a measurable, and back to the geek again, back to science, it's a vibration. It's a measurable vibration when you be you, and you heal you, and you're expressing you. That's you. And it can't not happen. You make a choice, I'm having my beloved, and it's just a matter of putting one foot in front of the other long enough, bing, you're going to meet them, because it's science. If you hide in your closet, okay, maybe not. But if you get out there, certainly on a safe dating app, partnering app like I have, where everybody's doing the work, everybody's showing up on the live conscious connection calls, practicing being authentic, practicing listening. You want to date people who do the work and who show up, not who pretend. Absolutely. So that's why you created this, because it works.
Well, and I think, I'm sure women and men both. I generally talk more about women on here, but I think, people crave intimate conversations. We just don't know how to do it, but it's very sexy, I think.
Yes.
I mean, all those times when you met someone and you ended up, talking all night or whatever. I mean, generally when we first meet, we'll show some vulnerability, right? And now, whether it's truly real or not in the beginning, I don't know until you've done the work. But I do think people crave that. And I do believe that's what keeps relationships together, is the willingness to have not just the intimate feel-good conversations, but the hard, intimate conversations.
Totally. There is such a fear of conflict, such a fear of rejection, that so many of us, me included, over the years, would not allow my authentic communication to happen, because if I was real and they rejected me and I didn't have a sense of worth on the inside, and I didn't have a sense of safety on the inside, I would just be devastated. I couldn't function. So when we can learn to have these intimate conversations with ourselves and feel that sense of home on the inside, and then we begin to have them with others, we realize we actually don't want to be right and in control all the time. We just want to be seen, heard, appreciated, connected, understood. And so on these conscious connection calls, which are part of the Heartmates, it's actually I have Heartmates I think dating apps are designed to keep us single, because they only make money if you stay wounded and you stay on the app single.
And you just keep swiping, right?
Right. And so I choose to help people become the one, to find the one, to keep the one. So we have Heartmates for singles. And then when you find your beloved, we have Heartmates for couples. So you can learn how to communicate. And everybody comes on these Friday conscious connection calls, Heartmates for singles and Heartmates for couples. And basically you learn what so many of us never learned, which is how to listen without interrupting. All you get to say when you're going back and forth with you get broken into little partners and you're given questions, meaningful, deep, like, oh my God, she wants me to talk about this? Yes, those kind of questions. So deeper than you're going to find on any whatever site or something. It's like, these are deep questions meant to make you a little uncomfortable. And your job is to practice speaking from your heart, because you're going to know the other person, the listener, only gets to say, thank you. And thank you doesn't even mean I agree. Thank you just means I heard you. I heard you. How many times have you had a conversation where you can guarantee the person's not going to judge you, defend, justify, interrupt, make you wrong, try to be right, like all the things? No, all they get to do is say thank you. There is a safety that happens and an authenticity. Sometimes people, they regularly, actually, not even sometimes, they tell me, I didn't even know that I thought that. I didn't even know what I knew. But that person listening without judgment made me feel so safe that something literally arose out of me that I've never even known about myself. So this is the kind of intimacy that we train in that keeps relationships together, so that if you're ever uncomfortable, we have a framework to help you get your heart back open again, keep you connected, reminding you you're on the same team, and then really seek understanding rather than being right. And if you have this as a framework within your relationship, you can get through anything. And then you're like, oh my God, we're stronger than ever from that conflict, not more distant, more distant,
broken.
More distant.
Yeah.
And then they leave, right? Like we don't have to do that cycle anymore, people.
Yeah. No, I love that, because I think that I think you're right. I think very few people on a daily basis feel heard, acknowledged, anything, And
Right?
I had a therapist on recently, and I'd never heard it put this way, but she was saying, how most people, they're not listening. She calls it reloading. Like you're talking and I'm reloading, trying to plan, but the next thing I'm going to say. So there's no way for you to feel safe if it's just the tennis ball conversation, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
No point.
So,
yeah.
Well,
it's draining, and it triggers all of our unhealthy behaviors, as opposed to this other way of communicating that we're training, which brings out the best in you, makes you feel great about who you are, makes you feel heard, and gives you the skills of knowing when it's your turn to be the listener. I mean, I would like rebut. I would like storm out. I would be like, well, that's it. Like I had all my behaviors as well. But this teaches me to go, just shut the F up. Just shut up. Just breathe. Just open your heart and listen. Just don't fix. Just get them.
Well,
so it inspires me to be a better person.
Well, and for me, when I think about that, people finally get a chance to feel safe, I'm guessing, which that's a biggie. Safe. I mean, how are you ever going to really open up, if you don't feel safe? So that opportunity to practice feeling safe and, I mean, a lot of us are like, what the heck does that even feel like,
Right?
So
it can be a first for people. I mean, they come back literally, Deb, crying, like happy tears crying. After these 30 minutes that we send them off with these 3 questions in, they come back and they're like, and it could be like that these people are potentially a match, or it could be that they're not even a match at all. It doesn't matter. Right. It's that we're building friendships, we're building allies, we're building community, so that we don't come from desperateness when we get on that date. We come from, hey, I have a lot of people that have said, I'm okay. And then we feel, I'm okay. And then we go on a date. And even my Heartmates partnering app, we have these little like heart meditations before your date. So we get you into coherence and your heart's open. Like we support you left, right, and center to have the best experience. But it's about not coming from desperateness, making choices in life anymore, but coming from doing the work to come from wholeness, so that you can invite a high vibrational match. And maybe work things come out of this. I don't know. Maybe like friends come out of this on the path to finding your heartmate. Because the world, now that we've gone through COVID and pandemic and all the rest of it, most of us at some point, at least on the conscious path, have really slowed down to go, what really matters? And most people that are on the conscious path want that deep connection to others and that living of their authentic self. And this is
Yeah.
one path.
Well, and I think you're right. I mean, whether we're talking about intimate romantic conversations or whether it's business conversations or work conversations or family conversations,
Yep.
I think what you're saying is, the ability to feel safe and not come from the desperate approval type conversation.
Yep.
That's just a whole different ball game. I mean, it's got to
Yeah.
be just I haven't had the chance to practice that yet. Not on an intimate level. I actually haven't dated. That's still a ways down the road, but I'm still learning about me so that I can get to the place and do some of that. But your program sounds really perfect for people like me who want to begin to feel safe again and
Yes.
begin to, talk to someone in an intimate way and be authentic,
Yes. I think it's important that all of us don't hide to do the work. We do the work while showing up. We can do both.
Yeah.
So we want a safe environment. We want proven curriculum to help heal your heart. We want a safe container to practice communicating so that, and practice being honest. Like, I'm here to become the one. Eventually I choose to find the one. That might not be 12 months from now. I don't know. Might be only like 10 days. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to be honest. And yet I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to show up.
Yeah.
And the universe hears that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's magical what occurs all over your life. So I love what I've created. I'm so proud of myself because it has not been easy.
I'm so proud of you too. I mean, this is amazing. I won't go through all of them, but you've got a great video out there. Y'all should really catch this on YouTube. It's called 5 Steps to Open Your Heart Again. I won't go through all of them. They're all fabulous. But a couple of them, which I think is really important. One is to really get clear on what you're ready to give, and then get really clear on what you're ready to receive. Holy moly, who would even ever think about that? I mean, and to do that work before you go on, out with someone, or I mean, who thinks about, well, what am I really ready to give? I mean, you may be nowhere near ready to give anything, right? Or receive, for that matter. And I just think what you say in those 5 steps, and the other ones are powerful too, but those two just really struck me, maybe because I've never thought about it, And again, it's that going inside and doing the work so that you can show up authentic and really know what you're looking for,
Yeah.
So powerful.
Thank you. Good.
So powerful.
Well, I'm glad that you will give them like show notes or wherever they can go find those.
Absolutely.
videos.
Absolutely. I know I've kept you long. I just have to talk about one more thing really quickly. And that is, I think you embody as one of the most feminine yet powerful, sensual, open women I've ever connected with. And if you could just, because I think a lot of times when women go through divorce or big challenges or losses, self-confidence wanes, and we don't think so great about ourselves, and maybe we're not in our bodies. And I know you've done a lot of work around helping women kind of really get back in their bodies. What would you say to our audience about having women connect back into that space that sometimes we just lose?
Yes, thank you. I would encourage self-pleasure, like masturbation, without the goal of climax. To remember how to receive pleasure as nourishment and allow that experience of receiving pleasure in your own sacred alone time to receive the pleasure of a compliment, really take it in, to receive the beauty of a sunset, the taste of a meal, to remember that from empty and crunchy and cranky and trying to control our outcomes, we are not going to be able to receive adoration, being cherished, somebody being devoted to us, if we're not cherishing, adoring, and being devoted to ourselves. So the cultivation of a self-care, self-pleasure practice. So you practice receiving, because receiving, you can have a great person right there, right in front of you, give you money, give you love, give you everything. But if you can't actually receive it, it's just going to sit there on the table. Receiving is a brave act. It's not just, I have to think it and there they are. No, you actually have to let it all the way in. Even money, even miracles. Like a lot of people say, oh, I'd love a miracle. But yeah, but if it was right there in front of you, could you actually receive it? Do you believe you're worthy enough for it? Yeah. Right? So receiving's a big deal. So this is a simple but regular, consistent practice that is far more profound than it might sound. And it will heal any sexual shame. It will, you'll probably lose 10 pounds because you'll just love on your body and you'll honor your body and you'll receive every morsel more deliciously, and you won't need to, fill that void with food. You fill it because it's filled with love. You'll probably make more money because when you can receive love, you can receive money. You'll probably have more serendipity and synchronicities and miracles because you're actually open to life, not closed. And every single moment will be richer and more beautiful and more delicious because you've slowed down to practice receiving. And again, it's not about perfection. It's just about, I choose to have a date with myself at least once a week where I practice this, and then I take that into my world. And I see, because that's a point of view. Your point of view creates your reality. I see all the way the universe is loving me. And I choose to receive it because I'm worthy. Not like an arrogant, narcissistic thing, a humble grandeur of a queen. Yeah.
God, that was beautiful. Beautiful, just like you. I've got 1,000 more notes here, but I know you have to go. Please come back.
I have to go, but I'll come.
Please come back. There's so much I want you to share with our listeners because I believe they're ripe for really hearing this information. And I know you are loaded up. I know you've got tons of clients who come to you and people in your programs and people that want to learn this. So is the best way for people to reach you allanapratt.com?
Yeah, allanapratt.com/connect is a way you can talk with my intimacy success advisor. That's my main site where it has all the different resources and the intimacy blind spot quiz and so many different summits and podcasts you can listen to.
Oh, see, I wanted to talk about that too, the blind spot quiz. Oh my goodness, there's so much. Please, and I'll put it in the show notes so people can go. So much I want to still talk about. So we'll have to do it on another day. But I did want to say I saw an interview where you were coaching Lisa Gibbons, who did Dancing with the Stars, and I loved that she just said, "You're the best at this." And I just want to close with that because you really are. You really are the best at this to help people, connect back into themselves and begin to open up to the world and to have relationships and to be happy. And thank you for what you're doing, my friend.
I love you. Thank you.
I love you too.
Thank you for me to receive all that. That's my little,
yes,
you can do it. Of course. Yeah. So please have me back. I would love to continue this conversation. Love to all of you listening. Know that your heart is such a powerful place to open and receive to all that you deserve. And we encourage you to take the journey, the delicious journey. So thank you, Deb, so much. Mwah.
Thank you. Mwah. We'll talk soon. All right.
Okay.
Bye. All right, folks. Well, we will be, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
This episode of The Golden's Guide to Divorce is proudly brought to you by Franny's Pharmacy of Greenville, a leading seed-to-shelf hemp and CBD brand. From tinctures to topicals and everything in between, Franny's Pharmacy Greenville is the most curated and thoughtfully stocked CBD dispensary in the Southeast. Whether you're shopping in-store or online, rest assured they only bring you the best of the best. Check out Franny'sPharmacyGreenville.com today and enjoy free shipping.
Welcome back, everyone. You know what time it is. It is Golden Tool toolbox time, although we don't have the toolbox here. I'm still in the process of finding the right toolbox. If y'all have some ideas, you can certainly send them in. And while we're on that, if you have comments, if you have tools that you would like to share, I would love to know. So please let me know if you've got questions. I've been getting some suggestions of shows that people are interested in. So if there's something you're interested in, please let me know that as well. I welcome all comments and would love to know what you think as we travel on this journey together. All right, the tool for today is, this is, we get what we focus on, right? And, everybody does sticky notes to remind them of, especially if it's positive quotes or things that you really want to implant in your mind and your subconscious. So we hear about that a lot, but I have found a tool that I really love, and it's called Conscious Ink. Now, I am a tattoo virgin. I've never had a tattoo in my life, but I have found these tattoos that are really conscious, and you can go on their website. It's called consciousink.com, and they're all about, bringing the magic, remembering the magic. And so I wanted to show you, probably won't be able to see it very well, but I actually have one that I put on today because I'm really trying to remember how to trust myself, trust the divine, trust the universe, trust that everything's working out. So I have trust on my forearm here, which I love looking at it. It's beautiful. I love the lettering. And Conscious Ink has all kinds of amazing, beautiful words and phrases that you can put on your body. It's very easy to put on. It is ink. It stays on for several days. You can take it off anytime you want to with like alcohol. It's non-toxic, but just some of the things that they have that I love, like there's one called Magic, and I love the fonts on all these. There's one where there's courage over fear. There's a line with fear under it. There's one called Commit. There's one that says, I got you. There's one, I'm right here, permission granted. I mean, it goes on. And I believe gratitude, love, believe, all these great words that when you're going through something, it sure is helpful just to look down and see that and, remember. And I could look at it 100 times a day, and I know that that's really doing something for my well-being. So I'd love for you to check that out. There may be other companies out there, but I know Conscious Ink is, I've actually had an email conversation with the owner. They are very conscious. They are very aware. They're a great company, and I believe they do a lot as far as charity. So please check them out and let me know what you pick. Oh, and also I believe that you can do like an original. Like if you really wanted something in particular, I believe they can specially make it for you. So I've found this to be a really fun, encouraging tool. So I encourage you to use it as well. Okay, my final thoughts for today. I loved having Allana here. She is so fun. I can't wait for her to come back. It made me think about, the whole self-care. And this weekend, if you recall several episodes back, one of the tools that I gave was some coconuts, because when I feel like I'm ready to release something, whether it's anger or just I'm ready to release old habits or old thinking or limited beliefs, I'll go out into nature and break a coconut. And if you didn't hear that episode, it'd be a great one to watch or listen to, because if you can do this, and coconuts are natural. When you break them, they're biodegradable. The animals can eat them. You're not littering. So I think it's a great way to be in nature because, nature is so healing itself anyway, and it just absorbs everything, and it does help us heal. I so believe that. So anyway, I went out in nature this weekend, and there were some things that I wanted to release, some old beliefs and some old habits, and I broke a coconut, and it was perfect. It broke perfectly in two. I've had them before where, it takes forever to break or whatever. So that was great. I need to put some pictures up. And I also realized when I was doing that, when I was planning to do it, my dog, my soul dog, actually, he passed away many years ago, and I've been carrying his ashes around for 13 years. Now, talk about needing to release something. And every time I felt like I wanted to release his ashes, I just couldn't. It was like something within me that I just wasn't ready to let go, because that dog, for whatever reason, represented safety to me. So, but anyway, I'm learning to trust and know that I'm safe now. And so when I broke the coconut this weekend, I said, you know what, I'm going to take Dallas's ashes and I'm going to release them too. And so what I'm inviting you to do, I think it's really great to do things like that, or rituals around releasing. It's really helpful because you can be very conscious about it. Because when I, spread his ashes and when I broke the coconuts, I was very conscious about what I was wanting to let go. Because, we've talked about, we do have to do conscious releasing in order to let the new in. We've talked about before, you can't fill a full cup. At some point we do have to empty. So consider this process, let releasing be even writing something out, maybe it's just writing it out. If you're angry or if you're sad, the releasing process is really, really important for us to make room for all the things we do want. So, in signing off today, my beautiful people, thank you for being here with me on this journey. So today, I'm signing off in love and letting go, and what I always say is that we're still here. So remember that, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching and listening.
I am here after